We have low IQs, people. We got some serious low IQs out here in the African American community. And I cannot understand it. Even some of the people who send me this shit, who seemingly believe that they're sending me something I'm supposed to get excited about, don't even realize what they're sending me. Hold on. Let me take these earbuds out of my ear because, you always sound like you're underwater, at least to yourself. Man, y'all remember when I made the video about the Black Panther Party and all of its brilliance, and those brothers that went out there with their Stacey Abrams sign while holding quote unquote assault weapons, right? The very assault weapons that the Democratic Party wants to ban. Pretty much every single black politician is in lockstep with the Democratic agenda, right? Which is massive amounts of gun control to basically ban the Second Amendment into oblivion, where it's no longer a functional or effective right that anybody can exercise, right? I just posted the video of Ahmed, right? Did I say his name right? Ahmed Arbery, right? I just posted, no, it's not Ahmed. Ahmed's like an Arabic name. How do I say that name? How do I say his name? Anyway, I just posted the video. Okay. The man got gunned down while jogging. Like I said, there's a bunch of guns that you can get that are small enough for you to conceal carry while jogging in gym clothes. There's a bunch of 380s that you could get. You could have the Ruger LCP2. That's a perfect one. There's a bunch of guns. So the idea that, I'm running or I'm exercising, therefore I can't have a freaking gun on my person. I don't care if you have to get a fanny pack. Okay? But here we have, time and time again, just like the black people in the Krogers, Dylon Roof, right? Now Mr. Arbery, right? We keep seeing these examples of black people getting gunned down, Trayvon Martin, right? The list goes on and on and on, right? All these vigilante, I'm a cop, they see a black male and let me go be the fake police, right? And I'm making calls for black people to defend themselves, exercise your Second Amendment rights. I've been saying it for years. I've been damn near the only voice on, pro-black YouTube or whatever section you want to call this that's been saying this. I left a message over there underneath Black Truth Professor's video, where, he touched on everything. I kind of feel like he watched my video before he decided to make his video, but whatever. So I'm listening to his video and, again, and it's only a slight criticism, but it's the same with him and the same with Black Authority, where, they go up all pro-blackity black community, black empowerment, black, pro-blackity black man. Don't want to touch the Second Amendment until today. Don't want to touch it. Never touch it. Vaguely go, protect, defend yourself, but don't get into specifics like actually say the word gun, actually say the word Second Amendment. Like they don't do it. Okay? And then, again, we're talking about, the Republicans are full of white supremacy and all that other shit. And the Democrats, they not listening to black people, and they need to listen to black people's demands. And we got to tell them that we want a black agenda. And we want, all this on the table. And again, where have you ever heard any black people say, and we also want the Second Amendment and make sure that's on the pro-black agenda? Has anybody said that? Am I the only person screaming from the mountaintop that the Second Amendment is important to black people's survival in a racist nature? Am I the only person that people want to hear? Y'all, what do y'all think y'all gonna do? You're just gonna operate in the system of white supremacy and what? March and protest your way to the fucking top, and then when people get stupid with you, you got no way to protect yourself? After Donlon Roof massacred all them people in that church at AME Church in South Carolina, 11 churches throughout the South were burnt down to the ground. Look it up. 11 churches throughout the South were burnt down to the ground. Where was the protection? Where was the protection? Where was the armed black men standing outside of their churches, their places of worship of white Jesus? Where was the protection? Hell, white Jesus can't even protect y'all from freaking Donlon Roof or some mass murderer or even the coronavirus. But y'all want to place all your faith in white Jesus. Where was the protection? Why is it black people constantly run around talking about their liberation and their freedom and all this other bullshit, but don't want to touch the Second Amendment? Don't want to touch it. I mean, it's like, how do you ignore this? People sit there and they say, oh, well, look at Tulsa, Oklahoma. Tulsa, Oklahoma, got burnt down to the ground. Oh, they had plenty of businesses. It was Black Wall Street. How many gun stores did they have? That's my question. How many gun stores did they have? How many black people were actually armed during the purge of Tulsa, Oklahoma? How do y'all overlook defense? How do you overlook this? And again, black people constantly running around screaming racism, 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 racism. Oh, they out to get us. Ooh, da, 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 da. But yet, the Second Amendment is not a priority. It's not a priority. It's a priority when some shit happens and then black people talk about, we need to get guns for about 2 weeks. And then after that, motherfuckers go back, they disappear. They scatter like fucking roaches. And you don't hear nothing about no Second Amendment anymore. Niggas want to say, oh, we need this and we need reparations and we need a stimulus bill and we need this and we need that. How about we make the demand to the Democratic Party that they need to get off this goddamn gun control? And this is the part that makes absolutely no sense to me, and where I jump up and I'm like, we got some serious low IQ shit going on. You got this brother, Mr. Lynn. I'm not going to say his name, Mr. Lynn Jr. Okay, so Mr. Lynn Jr. He goes and he's protecting Sarah Anthony, Representative Sarah Anthony of Michigan, right, which is one of his local politicians, I assume. Right, so you got him and a bunch of other black people. There's actually even some black women in there, and they're going up there and they got their AR-15s and they're escorting her into the state house, right? And I'm sitting there and he comes out and he's like, we're trying to change the narrative. Black men, we got our firearms and we protected her because she felt intimidated by the white nationalists and the white supremacists that came, to the state house, right? And this is my frustration even with the white people that came to the state house. And I've been said this, okay? I do not understand what the hell guns have to do with them wanting the country to be opened back up. Like they got their own stupid ass low IQ shit going on. The Midwest is going to get hit hard come winter time. Okay, because they're running around breathing up all on each other. Ooh, it's a conspiracy theory. It's fake news, all this other bullshit. Okay, and I guarantee you, the elderly white people out there in the Midwest are going to start, killing over and dying from coronavirus. And you know who's going to bring it out to them? I'm going to tell you exactly how coronavirus is going to spread throughout middle America where all the white people live. The truck drivers. The truck drivers who go and they drive into Harrisburg, and they go to the big distribution centers in Harrisburg. They may even travel as far as Philadelphia or even New York. And they're in there, they're breathing up all the air where there's high rates of coronavirus. And then they're going to take their truck and drive it all the way back out to where the Midwest and all those open roads that you got out there when you drive out to the west and whatnot, going down 76 and 85 and all these other highways and 66 and shit. And that's how all those white folks in the Midwest are going to catch it. See, they're not feeling it. They're not in New Jersey. They're not in New York. They're not feeling how the impact of coronavirus, right? They're not seeing the dead bodies, none of that shit. So, they got their own stupid low IQ shit going on. They think it's all fake. I'm like, oh, just let it spread a little bit. Give it a couple more months. Because, they're talking about reopening the country and we haven't even hit plateau. Hit plateau. We're still on the upward slope. It would not the plateau, let alone decline. So again, all these non-scientific people want to sit there and fake news everything. So again, they got their own set of dumbassness when it comes to the white folks, right? So they up there with their guns, protesting and everything, right? Guns, if you're going to bring guns to a rally, it should be a 2A rally. If it's not a 2A rally, if it's not a Second Amendment rally where the government is trying to deny you your rights, leave your guns at home. But see, this is like the psychology of the white people out here. They think that, guns, apple pie, baseball, Colin Kaepernick needs to stand, veterans, red, white, and blue. They got a whole identity that surrounds whiteness. And we all know what it looks like. We all know what it is. We all get it, right? But that's the dumbass white people out here. So anyway, they went into the Capitol, right? Because it's open carry, all that shit. That's how it is in many of the Midwestern states, right? So they went in there, classic open carry dumbasses, intimidating people. And now all of a sudden, then basically they come down with the Mulford Act. Right, which is the irony, because people will say, oh, well, if black people did this, they would be trying to institute these laws, right? And I'm like, every time the white people do that open carry on the state capitol shit, they hit them with the same laws. It's not like, oh, they just let it be. If they go up there in force, they change the laws. They did the same thing in Virginia. The white people showed up and they changed the law. Right. So again, just because you can do something doesn't mean that you should do something. But this is how they operate. Right. But this is the part that really gets me. Right. With Mr. Lynn Jr. OK, so he's out there. I want to change the narrative. Right. Right. I don't know whether it was Sarah Anthony, who's the representative black woman, or I was reading the article. Somebody in there was saying that they had white supremacist signs and swastikas and they were up there with some sort of symbols of racism and white supremacy. I didn't see that from any of the other media outlets. I saw a bunch of angry white men yelling. I saw them with their faces covered with the thin blue lined bandanas and shit like that, doing what white folks typically do. Okay, we have, and all the time of white folks going on the Capitol or anybody going on the state Capitol openly carrying. When has there ever been an incidence of an exchange of gunfire between anybody during an open carry rally? Can you name one? I can't name one. So again, you get this. The thing is like you get the Democrats to come through and see what they're going to try to do, right? Because all these idiots that want to do the open carry thing, what they're going to try to do is say, I have the right to not be intimidated. Like that's an actual thing, right? Again, feelings over facts, right? You standing there it's intimidating and I have the right to not be intimidated. And then, okay, make a law and then therefore I get to deny you a constitutional right. That's how it's going to go. Okay. But here's the thing. This is what really gets me about this shit, right? Just like with the Stacey Abrams thing. So Mr. Lynn Jr., I'm talking to you, okay? You are protecting, right, a black woman that's a Democrat that would otherwise vote to deny you the very thing that you're doing in protecting her. Deny you access to the very firearms that she clearly stated she does not like, okay, because they're big and scary, okay? She would deny you your ability to have those firearms. Oh, it's cool when you're protecting her, but if we were talking about the black community and black people having guns for, again, when Sarah Anthony is not around, or when we're talking about being able to defend yourself like Mr. Arbery was unable to do, right? Guess who's going to be the one who's going to usher in those sort of gun control laws that are going to strip you of your ability to do the very thing that you just did in this fucking video? That's right. It's going to be a Democratic politician, right? Okay, I'll break it down another way. Please direct me to the white folks that are pro Second Amendment that are out there escorting or defending white Democrats. You see what I'm saying? See the difference between black people. See, this is where black people let blackness override policy. Blackness override policy. This is where we get emotional and we're not thinking, because we operate from the standpoint of emotionalism as opposed to what's in our collective best interest. As I said before, I don't care if Donald Trump stands up on a microphone and says, niggas, 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 I hate black people. And all that. I don't care if Donald Trump jumps up there and says that. If Donald Trump puts on the table a black agenda more than Joe Biden or any other politician, or if Barack Obama could be voted for again, and I say, Barack Obama, what you got for black people? Oh, I ain't got nothing. Donald Trump, what you got for black people? Well, actually, I've allocated, $300 trillion, or not trillion, 300 freaking $1 billion to the African American, blah, 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 blah. I'll be like, oh, word? Okay, we going with Donald Trump. You see? That's how it's supposed to work. But see, emotional, low IQ Negroes love to go out here and love to operate from the standpoint of not thinking about what they're doing. How, again, this woman, I guarantee, just like every other black politician, with Michael Bloomberg throwing all type of moms demand action type of money around and mayors against gun violence and all that other shit, they would have it so that that Mr. Lynn would not be able to do the very thing he's doing, and what he believes to be is protecting Sarah Anthony. I'm like, look, I get it. You want to protect the black woman. She feels you're only seeing the aspect of white people with guns intimidating a black politician, and you want to protect your black politician. But when it comes to the whole gun issue, and this is why I hate the fact that the gun issue is not a bipartisan thing. I hate the fact that it's like, black people are like, oh, white people are racist, they're all Republican. Okay, fine. White people are racist, they're all Republican. You're saying that black people are all Democrat and Democrats are all for, black people doing well or something like that. Okay, fine. Let's go with that. Okay. But be it that the majority of white folks, right, the majority of America is white folks, and black people always want to argue that, oh, they're so racist and they hate us and the government and Donald Trump and all this other shit. Okay, why don't you support the Second Amendment? And if you do support the Second Amendment, how do you reconcile with the fact that the very party that you vote for is not in support of you as a black minority in America defending yourself or having the ability to defend yourself? How do you reconcile with that? How are you going to be a black person? Oh, I'm pro 2A, black people, I believe black people should be able to defend themselves, blah, 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 blah. But yet you vote for all the politicians who are going to vote on the Michael Bloomberg ticket and who are getting paid all that side money, on the Michael Bloomberg ticket, and they're going to vote against your interest in you having possession of the firearms that you have. And they're going to throw it all underneath the umbrella of, curbing gun violence in the black community, which has nothing to do with you and your open carry. Like, what are you smoking? You see what I'm saying? Like, you got to understand, and again, this goes back to the issue of black people not understanding how you have to buy your politicians. It's not about them going in there and doing what's right. Michael Bloomberg threw around $500 million. $500 million for his run for the presidential campaign. Okay, Michael Bloomberg, last time I checked, his net worth is like $60 billion. $60 billion. So literally, check this out. Literally, to bring it into perspective, if Michael Bloomberg had $60 for his run for the presidency, he spent 50 cents. Okay? Are you getting me? He spent 50 cents to run for the president. So and he hates guns. And black people were almost a rock star away of supporting, Michael Bloomberg. Right? The only reason they kicked him out is because of all that, all the stuff with the stop and frisk. Right? So I'm like, I don't even know why we were even entertaining that. Now, some people say, well, I never entertained. And they didn't, especially black folks from New York, they didn't let him forget about that. Right? But again, this is why I keep saying the Democratic Party, for them to even, to even put him up there and let him run and change the rules and all that other shit. I'm like, how is it that they would even put somebody up there like that and think that black people are going to go for that? You know why? Because they look at black folks and they're like, you know what? They got low IQs. They'll vote for it. They don't critically think. Hell, they'll go out here and be pro 2A and vote the very candidate into office that wants to pass gun control that will restrict the very rights that they're exercising, are the ones that they claim that they support right now. It's like, again, black people, if you're going to put blackness first as opposed to policy when it comes to black people, right, as opposed to having an agenda, if you're just going to operate, we're done. Like, we're just done. I mean, it's just like I said before, white folks are far more organized and intelligent when it comes to when they make moves. You see, like, it's like when they go up there on Fox News, what do? They go and they get the black people and they pay them to say all the shit that they want, black, that they want to say, but they get the black person to do it, right? They will go out here and they will support. Now, all these black conservatives on YouTube, they making money. From the Candace Owens to the Brian Logans to the Amazing Lucas and all them making money. Okay, because white people will throw their support behind people who espouse their policies. They don't give a shit whether the person is white, black, or whatever. They look at the policies. Oh, what are you saying? Oh, Blue Lives Matter. Oh, that's our nigger. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's how they operate. Black people, we don't care as long as it's black and it's skinning and it's grinning. As long as it's black and it's skinning and it's grinning, we gonna vote. We gonna go out there and vote. Oh, who you voting for? Oh, I don't know his name, but he a person of color. That's who I'm voting for. What is his policies? What is his agenda? What is he planning on doing? Oh, I don't know. I just know the other person, he's racist. And I'm like, oh my God. You cannot talk about Mr. Arbery being killed. Okay? You cannot talk about him being killed and say, black people, we should really take a serious look at being able to defend ourselves with firearms, and then simultaneously say we are going to adamantly support our black elected Democratic politicians who want nothing more than to disarm us. Those two things are diametrically opposed. Okay? They're diametrically opposed. I don't understand what black folk don't understand about this. You see how I'm talking slowly, like I'm talking to children? Because this is the type of shit that a lot of even my followers will send me and act like this is great. Look at this. Yeah. And all they see is, yeah, Pete supports the Second Amendment. And yeah, the white men, they out there with guns. And so I'm just going to go and grab any example of a black man out there with guns. So they only look at the first piece, but they don't look at the second piece. What is the second piece? Okay, you got a bunch of black folks escorting a black female politician into the state house. Okay, cool. I don't have no problem with that. But they're also supporting what? A Democrat that would otherwise what? Disarm them. Disarm the very, she's saying it point blank that they shouldn't be able to open carry with large caliber firearms on the state capitol. If such a law were to pass, guess who else wouldn't be able to be on the state capitol with a firearm? The very motherfuckers that's sitting there protecting her ass. Just dumb. Like, can't even say, hey, you might want to reevaluate this. You might want to rethink this. And Mr. Lynn Jr. or any other black person, I don't know what they don't get about that. Again, you can't get any stupider than them Black Panthers down there in Georgia that literally, my man had a $2,000 rifle. He had a Scar 17 on his chest. So actually, it might have been a Scar Heavy, the 308 version. He had a Scar. I was like, damn, nigga, that shit's like $2,000. I wish I had one, right? And they got the signs up there. Stacey Abrams. I click on YouTube, I go to any Stacey Abrams video. Stacey Abrams is toting the Democratic Michael Bloomberg party line of gun control. We need to get these weapons of war off the street. And it's a bunch of niggas standing there with a Stacey Abrams sign holding what? Weapons of war. I'm like, oh my God. Oh my God. You know what I'm saying? Like this is the type of shit that gives credence to the bell curve. I had a white troll come in the comment section the other day, and it was like, well, why is it okay when black people say that black people have low IQs, but when we say it, it's racist? You're confirming what we already know about the Negro race. I had them come in the comment section saying that shit. But the thing is like, I cannot deny the utter stupidity at the collective level when it comes to, how we go about doing things. This is as simple as can be, and it can be simply resolved. Do not support, if you are pro 2A, do not support Democratic candidates that support gun control. Gun control should be off the table. You say, yeah, I hear you. We need funds and resources for the inner city and the black community and all this other stuff. And we got to address police brutality and all that. But gun control is off the table because we want to be able to protect ourselves. And I'm letting you know that if you touch with the guns, I'm not going to vote for your ass. See, that's what white folks do. White folks are one issue voters. That's why the NRA is hard to fuck with. They can sit there and they can talk about the lobby and the industry and all that other stuff. No, it's because the people who are members of the NRA and other gun owners across America, which there are more of now, because if you go to any gun website right now, you will see that ammo is freaking gone. It's off the shelves, and guns are gone off the shelves. So the Democrats, come November, have a big issue on their hands because now there are more gun owners in America than ever before. More new gun owners, and many of those gun owners are liberal. And many of those gun owners, especially like those people out in California who sat up there and were like, why do I have to wait a 10-day waiting period? Just run the background check. Well, it doesn't work that way. Not here in California. Or in New Jersey. Well, why can't I walk out with the gun right now? I have the money. You ran the background check. Sorry, sir, we can't just run the background check. You haven't been fingerprinted. You don't have an FOID card, which is a firearms what is it? Firearms, something, what's it? Something card. I don't know what it is. FOID card. You need an FOID card, and you have to have a permit to purchase. But you got to go to the police station. You got to get fingerprinted, and you got to get 2 references. Then they got to do a psychological background. Then they got to send. You got to go and you got to get a money order, and then you got to go and put $2, which is worth more than the money order itself. You got to put $2 on the fucking money order, and then, or actually, excuse me, the money order is worth more than the $2 that you're putting on it. I'm sorry. And then that goes and gets sent off to the state troopers. Then they run a background check. Your local municipality runs a background check. And then they'll call you in the middle of the day because they're only open between retarded hours of 10 and 2. So you got to take a day off of fucking work. Then you got to go in there, right, and get your permit. And then you run to the FFL. And then they do another background check. And you got to sit there and they fill out the 4473. Fortunately for New Jersey, there's no waiting period. But Democrats, for some stupid reason, love waiting periods. I might understand that on the first gun, but again, on the second or third gun, why am I having a waiting period? If I was going to commit a crime or a crime of passion, why wouldn't I just do it with the firearms I already freaking have? You're not making sense, bro. You're not making sense. Again, it's not about making sense. It's not about sensible gun control. What it's about is that it's about making the task of firearm ownership just the most arduous and onerous task possible, to make it as difficult as possible so that you don't want to have to go. The experience sucks so bad that if you have a gun, you only have that one gun. And you don't just go and get another gun or get more, which is what most people who get guns are going to want to do. Everybody, when they first get a handgun, they say, oh, I want a gun with a safety. Then they get the safety, and then they say, oh, man, I don't really want a safety. Now that I'm proficient with the firearm, I don't really want a safety because, what if something happens and then I forget to take the safety off in a life or death encounter, which happens. You can go over and watch Active Self-Protection. Now, personally, I have gone back to liking a safety. And the reason why I like safeties on my gun is because I realize that not only as a tall person, a lot of times, my gun is right at people's upper abdominal area. So it's like my gun is very prominent in people's faces because I'm so tall. So if somebody were going to get the drop on me or somehow get my firearm out of my holster, I want them to have to defeat the safety if they were going to use the firearm against me. I'm saying in the extreme example of them being able to get the firearm. So I like ones with a safety because, truth be told, most people are not as proficient with a firearm. For myself, I'm such a firearm enthusiast that literally it only takes me about a fraction of a second to know exactly what type of model of gun you have just by looking at the grip. I know what capacity you have. I know what type of gun it has. I know whether it has a safety or not. I remember K Camp made a song and he was like Glock off. What did he say? Glock off safety or Glock on safety. He said something like that. I'm like, nigga, Glock don't got a fucking safety. What are you talking about? You know what I'm saying? So then it's like, that's how you know the real gangsters from the fake gangsters. You know what I'm saying? I'm saying that as an EL. You know what I mean? It's like fucking Nas in that song. What song was that? Freaking I Gave You Power, where he's like Desert Eagle, 17 rounds loaded in the clip. I'm like, nigga, what Desert Eagle got 17 rounds loaded in the clip, nigga? Like what Desert Eagle? You clearly ain't talking about the Desert Eagle 50 AE, which is the classic Desert Eagle. You must be talking about something else. You must be talking about one of them 941 Jerichos or something that adopted the name of Desert Eagle. But that wasn't until later. So when that song came out, that wasn't even available. So I'm like, what are you talking about? But it rhymed, so he went with it. But I'm just like, that's not accurate. That line always bothered me. Whenever I heard that song, I Gave You Power. He's talking about Desert Eagle. I'm like, Desert Eagle don't hold no 17 rounds or whatever, however many rounds. He said way more rounds than what it was. Anyway, I don't know what to say. I do not know what to say. You know what I'm saying? I feel like, number one, I feel like I'm the only voice, when it comes to black people in the Second Amendment. And yes, I understand there's a huge amount of cognitive dissonance because the Democratic Party that black people love and endear so much is so anti-gun. And we have inner city gun violence, which is an economic problem Okay, not a violence problem, an economic problem that, again, they fail to address. You know, one of the main reasons why they don't like to address the real problem when it comes to inner city violence, because it would take more than one election cycle to deal with that problem. If any policy was enacted, like say that you have a president, he gets in there day one, he enacts a policy for the black community, throws billions and trillions of dollars at the black community. How long would it take to see the actual results of the policies that that president put in place? Would it take more than one election cycle? It would. But see, gun control, the effects on gun, it's immediate. Bam, I banned all the guns, and then they can sit there and say, oh, look, the gun violence went down or something like that. You know, they'll try to, you know, to make those type of arguments, you know, construed just like they try to make now, you know, by conflating numbers and inflating numbers by including, you know, suicides in gun violence, right? Or trying to include negligent discharges in gun violence, you know, or try to conflate mass shootings with inner city violence, which are two completely different animals. America does not have a gun violence problem. America has an inner city poverty problem that it refuses to address. Talking about assault weapons bans, most of the violence that goes on in the city between Ray Ray and Pookie and other drug dealers and whatnot and gangs are done with handguns. So how is that going to have any impact on the black community? I mean, it's mind numbing the way that we don't think about these issues in a logical manner. You know, black people are going to have to make this. You're going to have to make new decisions that are not along the path of the black people who came before us that did the same old thing expecting different results. I mean, what is your goal? What is your agenda? You want to be able to protect yourself? Well, the Democrats ain't the ones that's going to allow you to protect yourself. Okay? We're just waking up at the fact that they don't have a black agenda on the table. They don't have anything specific towards us. And just now you got young black people saying like, hey, we ain't voting for you. We sitting on it. And you see P. Diddy trying to hijack the shit. We've been sitting online saying this shit. We've been saying the Democrats ain't for us. We got to go with something else. If there's nobody to go for, well, then I guess we ain't voting. You know what I'm saying? The world is saying fuck us and we're saying fuck you back. Plain and simple. You know, it's like, I don't understand us. I mean, this guy is going up there, he's defending her and all this other shit. You know, yeah, I get it. Okay, you want to defend her because she felt threatened. Do I really believe that there was any threat to her person? No. But, you know, oh, I feel so threatened and I welcome. And she made it clear to say, you know, I didn't ask for it, but I welcome their, you know, their assistance or something like that, something to that effect in this article that I was reading. You know, and I'm like, yeah. So in other words, yeah, you don't want to fully embrace them because you don't want to have to, you know, be confronted with them being like, yo, what are you doing? You're backstabbing us when you get that Michael Bloomberg money. And he says, I need you to vote in such and such a way to pass this gun control. And he's throwing around checks. I mean, it's the same thing that Cuomo did in New York. The gun industry, some gun manufacturer offered to help make the mask. You know, these N95 masks that they need and help make respirators. But because it was a gun manufacturer and Cuomo, Governor Cuomo of New York, is adamantly against guns, you know, he didn't want to get caught up with the idea that this gun manufacturer actually helped the city of New York, quote unquote, save lives, because they want to sit there and say that, you know, the gun industry is evil and all they want the blood of your children and you know, they want to go up there and they want to say all that shit. So he turned down the gun manufacturer, even though he's running around, oh, we need masks. Oh, can anybody please? Can you donate masks? Please, we need donations. Please, please, please. The gun industry's like, hey, we can help. No, anyone but you. You know, and I'm like, see? That's somebody with a fucking agenda. But anyway, I don't want to make this video too long. I'm already at 40 minutes. I'm not going into the hour. Like, I mean, this is just like, the frustration. Like when I saw this, when I clicked on the link and I'm sitting there and everybody's like, yeah, this is what we want to see. Yeah, black men exercising their rights. Not like this. Not like this. I'd rather you stand out there with the white men at a 2A rally who are defending their constitutional right to be able to do what they're doing and have and possess those firearms. Not sit there and go over there and defend and protect the very rights that she would have taken away. I mean, god damn. This is why I don't fuck with any. I mean, all the black people you listen to, from CNN and Vance Jones and Roland Martin and fucking, what's her name, Joy Reid, and all these people, all these fucking people that are put up there, put in our faces, we pro-black and pro-black community, and then they go up there and pound the drums. Oh, the white people, they racist, they coming for you black people, da-da-da-da. Turn right around and say, oh, we got to get these guns off of the street because Ray Ray and Pookie is running around, and oh, look at the white supremacists. They got guns and they hate you and they coming for you black people, and then they don't want to ever have any conversation about black people defending themselves. You ever notice that? If a black person says, hey, maybe, on second thought, maybe I should get a fire. No, don't do that. Anything but that. Let us ban them all first. Then everybody will be safer. If we just get rid of every single gun, everybody will be safer. Because criminals, they follow the law, right? So everybody will be safer. Even though we'll still be in racist America. What do you think? If you take all the guns away from white folks, that all of a sudden they're not going to be racist anymore? You think that's what's going to happen? It's just it's delusional thinking. What's pissing me off? I'll tell you what always pisses me off. The fact that for over the last 10 years or whatever, it's like I can't be smarter than the people that are older than me. You know what I mean? Like, that's how I felt. Maybe I am, but I'm just like, I can't be smarter than these people. Like, they're supposed to give me guidance. They supposed to say some shit to me that makes me be like, oh, I didn't think about it like that. Like, they're supposed to say some shit to me and have me say, oh, wow, that's deep. That's deep. I'm supposed to say that. But instead, it's the other way around. I say some shit and they sitting there going, damn, I never really thought about it like that. You own a firearm. You want to support the Democrats. The Democrats support gun control. They would see to it that the very firearm that you have, you wouldn't be able to possess it. Or they would do something like, you can borrow the car, but there's no gas in it, which is what you see with magazine restrictions, which, they'll say reduces mass shootings, which don't happen in the black community and have never happened in the black community because because we got metal detectors and everything else because, black people, we's dysfunctional. So we need, to fortify our schools and shit like that. We ain't never had a mass shooting. And they'll say, oh, well, see, we got to have these reduce the capacity so that so that the mass shooter, won't be able to commit mass violence, right? But it also reduces the ability or the capacity of being able to defend yourself. Okay. How many times was 50 Cent supposedly shot? 9 times with what? A 9mm. I don't know what it is about people who think that a 9mm is the most powerful gun in the world. And how when you get hit with the bullet, it makes you just like freaking vaporize or something. And that's not what happens. So, on top of the fact of, number one, most black people, even if they get a gun, they probably only buy like 50 rounds of ammunition. They don't go to the range, especially in cities like New York, where it's prohibitively expensive. And I'm saying it was already prohibitively expensive for them to get the gun in the first place. Right? So it's prohibitively expensive. So the vast majority of black people don't have guns. But I'm saying in the event that they do, then They don't practice with it. So they're probably not that good of a shot. And then they're only reduced down to 10 rounds. And again, Cuomo, he tried to take it down to 7 rounds with the SAFE Act. Again, Democrats. So here you have a situation where you have a firearm, you're not that proficient. It's difficult to get ammunition in the city of New York because you got to go and you got to find one of these ranges, and then the ammunition is going to be expensive. So you're not training because the ammunition is expensive, and then you got the freaking low capacity and a weak ass round to where you got to factor in how many perpetrators might be attacking you. It might be more than one. Just like in Philadelphia recently, they had a brother, a 24-year-old guy who was a security guard. He was coming off of his job, and he was assaulted by 3 teenagers on a SEPTA bus. He shot 3 of them, right? I think all in the legs. And I'm saying that's 3 bullets right there. Lucky for him, he was proficient. But for those of us that are not proficient, how many bullets is it going to be that we miss? How many attackers are there? What if one bullet doesn't make the person go down? Okay, then what? Now what you do? Okay, now what if you run out of bullets? See, that's a scenario that nobody wants to face. Like, oh shit, what if I run out of bullets? How many times you see this shit with the cops? The cops, they got all the training in the world, and yet, they go out here, and you'll see the police officer shot 64 rounds, hit the suspect 3 times. It's like, how in the fuck? Y'all done shot 64 rounds and only hit the suspect 3 times? So if trained police officers' accuracy is shitty, then for a person that doesn't train on a regular basis, what do you think their accuracy is going to be? Pretty shit. So again, and I'm not saying that people need extensive, training, in order to defend themselves. Usually just pulling out the gun or shooting the firearm, the person may run away. But I find it amazing at how, they'll tell you, this is what the media will tell you. They'll be like, they needed to ban these semi-automatic weapons because, it turns people into killing machines, super efficient killing machines, right? That's what they'll say, right? But then when it comes to you as a law-abiding citizen, right? Or even as women, I love this one. Women, you shouldn't get guns because what if the man overpowers you and takes the gun away from you? Now all of a sudden you're this incompetent, babbling buffoon who can't shoot her own firearm. Or they'll say, oh, well, you citizen, you need extensive training. Are you trained with that weapon? Right. And then they add that to the criteria in order for you to get a permit. You're going to need 60 hours of training. How much is that going to cost? Oh, it'll be $1,000 or so. I'm typical African American, don't got the resources like that. Oh, well, I guess no permit for you. Right? That's what they do. No permit for you. If you can't pay the cost, well, I guess you can't. You obviously can't get past the price of entry, so you can't exercise your Second Amendment rights. See, we know as liberal Democrats that we can't say no niggas allowed, but we also know, like the city of New York, if we keep the price of entry so profoundly high that the average person can't afford it, well, that probably knocks off the vast majority of black people who we already know don't have the resources because we refuse to address the socioeconomic, long-standing issues that this country has had as it pertains to race and money, right? Race and economics. You see? Well, I mean, am I saying something that like is like why does this go over the average black person's head? Why is it the average black person? I'm not saying anything profound. I'm not over here being niggadomus. You know what I'm saying? I don't have no fucking crystal ball. This is common sense. I'm like, what are you for? What are you against? Okay, well, I'm for self-defense. I believe in self-preservation. I believe that Mr. Arbery should have had the ability to shoot back. That's what I believe. Oh, you're against that? Okay, well, I guess I won't be voting for you. It's just that simple. It's just that simple. We black people have to make it known that we are about defending ourselves. We have to make that shit known. And we're not doing that. We sit there and we're not one issue voters. We get boogeyman scared into not voting for the racist. Oh, I ain't got shit for you black people, but just don't vote for Donald Trump because he racist. But I ain't got shit for you. No, I don't have no black agenda for you. Oh no, I ain't got no resources coming for you. Oh, is that a gun? Oh, you don't need that either, because y'all black people, black on black crime. We got to reduce gun violence. Yes. So hold on, let's bring in all the single mothers whose sons died and out there in the streets because they didn't have economic opportunities. But no, we're not going to talk about fixing the economic opportunities. We're going to say, what needs to happen is we need to ban these guns. Come, Miss Jackson, stand in the front for me. Will you? Okay. Sheila, can you come around the corner? Miss Jacobs, can stand right here. Hold on. Let me put a couple droplets of water in my eye. Okay. Yeah. Make it sense. Yes. Okay. Camera's on. Okay. Yes. Yes. Gun violence is very tragic. We must do something about it and get these weapons of war off of these streets. These weapons of war have no place in our communities, right? And then they go up there and they say that bullshit, right? And then next thing you know, we get all this gun control that really, has nothing to do with solving the problems in the black community. And here you got Mr. Lynn Jr. standing up there escorting, Sarah Anthony into the Michigan, State House, talking about you're not going to intimidate our politicians. Our politicians? Why do we even call them our politicians if they don't put a black agenda on the motherfucking table? How are they our politicians? No, see, what happens is we go up there and we vote for these black folks because they black, and then they get into office, right? They go up there and act like they're going to change some shit. Then they get in there, and then the white people are like, well, here's an envelope, here's an envelope, here's an envelope. The people, they get in there like, how y'all making all this money? Well, actually, this is how politics actually works. It's not a democracy, it's a plutocracy. So they go in there. And, they get all that money, they get that check money, and the next thing they stop, serving black interest. And then they go up there and they pander to black people just enough. They give you the boogeyman, the racist, and they coming out to get you and the racist, but make sure you vote for me because if I lose my seat, then, oh my God, the David Dukes is going to come in here and take over, and then it's going to be real crazy. It's going to be, freaking Django up in this bitch. They're gonna be chasing people. They're gonna be putting Olivia Pope not Olivia Pope. They're gonna be putting Kerry Washington in the hot box. You can't let that happen. So they spook black people, and then black people, they go out in droves. They vote for this. That's how you get these old ass niggas in there, like Elijah Cummings, Sheila Jackson, Maxine Waters, who's the other guy, the fucking Otis looking ass nigga, the dude from, what is he, South Carolina? What's that, Clyde something, whatever his name is, and I'm like, these niggas been there forever. It's 2020. These niggas been there forever. You know what I'm saying? It's like they were like that first wave of black people who got in there. They thought they was going to change some shit. And they basically became a part of the machine. And these people who are a part of the machine need to be replaced. They got to get the fuck out. Plain and simple. And I'm saying black people got to stay on black politicians' ass, when they get up in there. You know what I'm saying? Every once in a while, even myself, I'll have a coon moment or two. I get frustrated with black people. I'm like, fuck it. These niggas are dumb. They ain't going to do shit. Fuck, I might as well take this money. Fuck it. Right? I might as well take this money, buy me a Ferrari, and call it a fucking day. Fuck these niggas, right? Everybody gets frustrated with black people as a collective because we do a lot of stupid shit. So I'm pretty sure it's hard to be up in there for decades on end and whatnot, and you got family to raise and everything else like that, and black people, you just look around and they don't know shit from piss. It's like, fuck it. You know what I mean? But I'm saying, in other words, your politicians are only going to be as effective as the black populace is intelligent and aware. Plain and simple. As long as you got an ignorant black voting population, okay, low information voting population, you're going to have black politicians that do not serve the collective best interests of the black community. Plain and simple. So in order for us to have the most effective black politicians, we have to not only have a set of demands, but we have to be aware of what's going on and hold our black politicians accountable for not going in the direction that we want them to go. And not only that, having somebody on standby to replace them, if they don't go, the way that we want them to go. Because a lot of times what ends up happening is you get a black politician in there, they don't do what black people want them to do, and then they go and the black people say, okay, we got to get him out of there, but then they go, well, we can't get him out of there. Why? Well, because his opposition is some Republican white guy who has a racist background or history or something like that. And then the black politician who wasn't doing anything for black people gets to go up there and say, well, you should pick the lesser of two evils. Now, I know y'all black, I promise I'll do better next time. But, unless you want that racist white man over there to take my seat, y'all better go out and vote for me. Otherwise, it's going to be problems. And then that's how black people fall into shit. Like, no, what we need to do is be like, nah, nigga, we got somebody to replace your ass. No. You didn't do what we want you to do. We have a candidate. And they're going to come in here and they're going to do what we need them to do. And if they don't, they're going to be out of here too. And we got another person to replace their ass. We ain't worried about what's going on with the Republicans and what's going on the other side or whatever. Okay, we got our own candidates that we will back and we will fund, et cetera, et cetera. You know what I mean? But black people, they don't understand how we don't understand money and how money and politics are intertwined. You know what I mean? We're as bad, it's like what Biggie said, all the money I had was the money for bail. We don't prepare for the shit. You know what I mean? We don't prepare for the downfall. We ain't breaking people off. Giving out money to the right people so that when something happens, we get a little slap on the wrist, right? See this with the drug dealers and whatnot. They get off. You know what I'm saying? I know a guy who was a drug dealer. He was married to a Jewish girl. The Jewish girl's family was all type of connected, lawyers and everything else, right? And he was a drug dealer, got caught numerous times. Should have been in jail doing like 20 years or so. But they kept getting him off, right? Because he didn't have the complexion for the connection, but he had the baby mama for the connection. And he was getting him off. And that's just what it is. The world's not fair. So if you know that the world's not fair and that's how the game is being played, which is basically some street level shit at a higher level, then that's how we need to operate. It's just that simple. But, again, black people with the sweet twinkle of white Jesus out here, they always jump in, it's all about what's right and what's just and righteousness and the Lord and Jesus, this, and it's not what it's about. It's about power and it's about control. It's not about righteousness and justice and what's good and versus evil and the red lightsaber versus the blue lightsaber. That's not what the fuck it's about. It's about power. It's about creating the world in which you want to exist. And you have to have power to do that. And you got to understand how the game is played inside and out. But again, if you don't have an agenda, if you don't have a goal, if you're out here voting against not only your economic interests, but you're out here voting against your own personal interests like self-defense, you can't be helped. But anyway, I'm done. That's my video. SWP out.